Hi everyone, welcome back to the Privacy Guy. Today I wanted to talk about why I think privacy is so important and why I think that taking privacy seriously now is kind of an investment in the future. If you continue to use services that take advantage of your data and that ignore any requests from its users for privacy or just abuse the power that it has to collect information, I think you're putting yourself at risk in the long term. And so I just want to discuss why I think it's important to take privacy seriously and discuss some of the long-term benefits of protecting your privacy now versus, maybe waiting 5 years and then just figuring out it's too late. So the reason I think it's so important to invest in one, services that protect your privacy now, and two, services that basically just take privacy seriously and don't overstep the boundaries that should exist as far as collecting people's data. I think companies like Google and Facebook are obviously, killing it right now from a financial standpoint. They're some of the most valuable companies in the world. Also in there is Amazon, which is also a company that's collecting a lot of data about people's purchasing habits and shopping habits and kind of interactions with Amazon services. I think that these companies do have the potential to continue to be some of the most powerful and largest companies in the world. But I think there's kind of one big risk that people often ignore, and it's all that data. Just because Google and Facebook and Amazon have been able to, somewhat control the data they collect and to keep it private, it's a big risk that, 5 or 10 years from now, say a foreign government is able to hack into Google's servers or Facebook or Amazon servers and collect information about millions of people, about millions of Americans and their habits. That's a risk for the companies themselves because their advantage right now is that they're able to collect all of this information. And their advantage in the future, hopefully, will be that they have years and years of data about millions of people that they can use to drive their future business decisions and to maintain their advantage in the market over their competitors. But if, there's a security vulnerability that's pointed out in the servers that these companies use and malicious actors are able to, hack into their servers and steal information about millions of people, that puts these companies at huge risks because if it harms millions of people and does $100,000 in damage to, or on average does $100,000 in damage to these people because, they get their identity stolen, they, have to spend money to try to clean up the results of the data breach or the hack. These companies could be financially liable and have to pay out billions of dollars to make up for the issues that they've created from not protecting their data. And this is also a risk because Google, it's an American company. What if a Chinese competitor like Baidu is then able to get all of the information that Google's spent years collecting and then use that to become the world's leader in search engine technology or just search technology? So that's the risk from the business side, so from the companies that are collecting your information side. And then I also want to talk about the risks for individuals like you and me. So if I'm using Google on a daily basis, I'm giving Google a lot of information about my interests, what I'm searching for, what type of information I'm interested in reading or things I'm interested in learning about. I'm going to go to Google, I'm going to type that in. They're going to get that information, like the search behavior, But, let's say I have a Google account and a Gmail account, and a Google Calendar account. I use a Google Drive account. All of that information is tied back to my identity or my account. And where that becomes a risk is if and when Google gets hacked, or whatever service it may be gets hacked, I have now had my information compromised. I've now had all of my search history over maybe potentially years or a decade or more leaked on the internet. And since that's all tied back to my email account, my file storage account, all those different things, people could potentially take advantage of that and harm me by hacking into my other accounts using that information, by using the information they're able to find to launch phishing or social engineering attacks. So, if you want to take your privacy seriously now, I think it'll pay off, because in the event that something like this happens and, we find out that Google wasn't using encryption on their servers or whatever, and so all of my information is available in plain text, that could be used against me. And not saying I'm going to, but let's say I want to run for president, or let's say I, become a celebrity, or I end up in a public facing role of, a large publicly traded company. And, I didn't take privacy seriously. So then Google's hacked, and then all that information comes out about me or whatever I was looking at on the internet. And, competitors will then use that against me, or, news organizations will launch or release stories about, my past 10 years ago based on my Google profile or whatever. I think it's just smart to protect your data. We've kind of been convinced that data collection and privacy intrusion is now the norm, but I think if we're going to move forward, we need to, one, have higher expectations on the products that we use, that they're going to protect our privacy. They're going to go to the furthest means they can to make sure they're using encryption on their servers. Make sure that they separate any identifiable data they have from my behavioral activity, so that if there's a hack, nobody can go into their servers and then identify me directly. We need to also just seek out privacy-friendly services. Maybe 10 years ago, there weren't privacy-friendly alternatives to most of the mainstream products we use. But today, thankfully, thanks to companies like DuckDuckGo, Mozilla, Signal Messenger, there are alternatives to most of the products we use on a daily basis. And, if we're going to go into the future and invest in companies we believe in, I think we should probably invest more in the privacy-friendly companies that don't put us at risk as far as having our information leaked to the world, and don't use us as products, but rather just provide a super user-friendly product that doesn't rely on people's information for their business strategy or for their monetization strategy. So that's just one thing I wanted to talk about today. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and would really love it if you would subscribe to my channel to help me spread the message of privacy even wider across the internet. So thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for more videos soon.